What's up, everybody? This is Stevie Mack with All Soccer All Day out here in Chicago. With me, as always, Eric D out in Los Angeles. You know, he's trying to be cool wearing those sunglasses at night, bro. What's going on, man? How you doing?
Yo, man, I'm good, man. What is good?
You know, we got plenty of things in the world of football to be talking about.
Gee,
I'm sorry, say that again.
try to be like that emoji that I like.
Yeah, it looks good.
Thumbs up.
Yeah, with sunglass face. So before we get started, as always, we want to give a shout out to our sponsors. First, we have Vaporgate. Vaporgate is the premier production of all the vape liquids, e-liquids, and also everything that you need. Check them out online. It's vaporgate.com, vapergate.com. You can order all of your vaping needs from them. So big shout out to them. Also, we have a new sponsor that we're going to talk about briefly here. We are going to talk about Diversey Wine, and there's 3 locations. They have 2 sister stores. The first one out here in Chicago is Diversey Wine. That's on 3023 West Diversey. And here's the cool thing about them. What they do is they're a natural wine shop. And what that means is they are made, first of all, by humans. It's not like a thing where it's processed through a bunch of machines. And the grapes are farmed organically and then fermented naturally in the cellars with no additives. So, I mean, it's something that is totally legit. They're absolutely wonderful. I went over to the wine shop a little while ago and had just a tasting over there with the owner, Bradford, and some very unique wines, delicious. And, you know, there's nothing like a good wine and a piece of steak, man. So check that out. There's also something, they have a wine club. You can find this all on their website. That's diverseywine.com. Again, I'm sorry, diverseywine.com. That's Diversey wine, WINE.com. So go check them out. They are absolutely wonderful, and we really appreciate them sponsoring this show. If you would like to help out this show, 2 things that you can do. Number 1, give us a 5-star rating wherever you're listening to us, whether or not that be iTunes or Google Play, Spotify, Stitcher, you know, anywhere that you can listen to podcasts, we're up there. So leave us that 5-star rating. It really helps us out. And of course, if you want to sponsor us directly, you can check us out on Patreon, patreon.com/allsoccerallday. And we, of course, really appreciate our patrons. And, you know, you guys allow us to keep doing this, having fun with this. And hopefully we do a good job for you and keep you informed about what's going on in the world. Eric, do you have anything else you want to add before we start getting into this episode?
Yeah, I have a question. So at this winery, do they actually stomp the grapes?
Well, no, this is a wine shop, man.
Oh, it's a wine shop. Oh,
Yeah,
sorry.
they're not producing the actual wine. They
Uh,
sell wine from producers that are actually producing this wine naturally. So it's just not like bulk wines that you get at just like a, you know, a grocery store or
I
something
got
like that.
you. I got you. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, ever been grape smashing,
I've never done that, but I would definitely do it. Sounds
Yeah.
fun. Anyway, okay, so let's get into, first of all, as always, we're going to talk about some of the rumors going around with the transfer season quickly coming to a close, at least the Premier League transfer season's coming to a close. The first one that involves Lukaku, Romelu Lukaku, is Manchester United are currently in talks with Juve about swapping Dybala, which I don't know. It sounds like Lukaku has been wanting out of Manchester United for a little while. Dybala, I don't know if he's getting the kind of play he wants to be getting in Juve, and so maybe it's a new challenge for both of them. Again, this is all rumor right now. Nothing's been solidified. Eric D, what do you think about this? Do you think there's going to be any legit impact with this?
I would say no, because I feel like Man U would be getting a steal in getting Dybala. Like Dybala's upside is much greater than Lukaku's, I feel, at this point.
I, I mean, I feel that. However, if you're looking at the striker position in Juve, you have Mario Mandzukic essentially is like one of the main strikers there, and you have Moise Kean, who just got sent out on loan. You know, Mandzukic is a little bit older. He's definitely on the downward slope of his career. Lukaku has his flashes of brilliance. And I think that maybe in a new challenge, maybe surrounded by new players, he might be able to shine a little bit. Of course, you got Ronaldo over there, and anytime you have Ronaldo on a team, he's going to take a lot of pressure off the number 9 striker. So,
Yeah, I just think that Dybala is a more dynamic player. I mean, Lukaku's a beast, but we haven't seen that play from him in a little while now.
yeah, no, totally agree. Dybala is definitely, as you put it, more dynamic. Um, I think he's younger too,
Yeah.
if I'm not mistaken. So, absolutely, I do agree with you. I think Manchester United would definitely be coming out on top with that particular deal. But you could always sweeten the pot with a little cash. We'll see. We'll see.
Little
Um,
Cash.
yeah. So again, just rumor. Another rumor that's been going around with big names, of course, is Neymar. No one knows what's going on with Neymar. It's like it's
Does
so
anybody
weird.
know?
No, I don't think so. But the rumor is that he might possibly be going back to Barcelona, and I think what I saw in the rumors is that Barcelona offered some cash and also a set of 6 players that they were willing to wheel and deal with is what I saw. And Coutinho was like the number one. So basically swapping the Brazilians. It clearly we talked about this last episode. Coutinho in Barcelona just doesn't seem to be working out. And so he's probably trying to find something new. And Neymar going back to Barcelona, I mean, we talked about this last time. Neymar wants to be the number one dude, but maybe going back to Barcelona and finding that joy in playing again is really what he needs in his career to kind of spark what he used to have when he was at Barcelona.
He needs to dye his hair back to its normal color
You
for
think it's
sure.
his hair? That's
Yeah, that I don't know what it is, this fascination with blonde. Like these guys, like I mean, Chicharito went like all the way to like orange, looking like a Cheeto.
Yeah, I
Uh,
don't know about that, man.
but I don't know what it like. Lionel Messi did the same. Have you noticed like Cristiano Ronaldo did that kind of early on? He's kind of like I feel like his hairstyle is a lot more normal now. He's definitely tampered down. That's usually the progression, right? When you're young, you do that stuff, and you settle down when you're older into a certain style. And I feel like some guys they're doing it backwards. Like they're just like as I'm getting older, I'm gonna just do weirder and weirder stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I hear that, but I think that soccer has always been kind of at the forefront of a lot of fashion when it comes to
Yeah,
hairstyles.
I mean it's a way. Soccer in general is a sport where you can express yourself a lot
Mhm.
like maybe basketball in that way. But on the soccer field, it's definitely you feel like you have a little more freedom to do that. And yeah, your hair is part of your personal expression. So I understand why players do it. I'm just saying that Neymar looks ridiculous. I'm just that's what
I
I'm
feel you. I feel you. Okay, so these are some of the main rumors. There was also an interesting interview with your boy Zlatan this last week regarding Paul Pogba being in Manchester United, where he said that if Pogba doesn't want to be there, they should let him go. Because I mean,
yeah.
what? I mean, it would be kind of silly to keep a player that doesn't want to be at a club,
That
and clearly has made it vocal.
yeah, it goes for any player at any club. Why do you want
Exactly.
to have a player in your dressing room that doesn't want to be there?
That being said, I mean, we really are winding down to the end of the transfer season, and by all accounts, it doesn't look like he's going anywhere. Not at least not this season. I
Yeah.
mean, unless there's some magical thing that Manchester United has in the works that absolutely no one knows about, and then Pogba just ends up somewhere else.
Yeah.
I don't know.
The same thing could be said about Alexis Sanchez. Like, what's going on with him? Like,
No one knows, dude. He just ghosted out last year. We
yeah,
talked about it last time. He had one goal.
yeah.
I don't. I don't know,
It's
man.
it to me. It's kind of been a quiet transfer window this summer. I'm kind of surprised. It started with a bang, and it's just kind of fizzled. I don't know. Maybe we'll see some. What do we got? 1 week left.
Yeah. Hmm. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, it's winding down. We'll see if any of these rumors come true. Neymar, Coutinho, Dybala, Lukaku, all that stuff.
It's 1 week for the English clubs.
Correct.
It's what, another month for everybody else
Yeah.
in Europe?
Uh-huh. I believe so. So there's still some action that could happen later on, but as far as the Premier League goes, we're really winding down because the season's about to start. So we are going to be touching on we've been telling you last week. We focused on Manchester United and Arsenal and their current team sheets and how they're looking going into the Premier League season. And then this week we're going to be talking about Tottenham and Chelsea. And the following week we're going to touch on Liverpool and Manchester City. And so this week, Tottenham, Chelsea. We'll go over their team sheets in a little while and talk about them and kind of how they're looking going into the season. But before we do that, we're going to talk about some things that went on this last weekend with the MLS. So the first thing that we're going to talk about is some of the games that happened this last weekend before the MLS All-Star game. The MLS All-Star game was this past Wednesday night, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But before we do that, there were some highlight games that we're going to mention. The first one was LAFC versus Atlanta. And this was a very exciting game. It ended 4-3 with LAFC coming out with the victory. But, some very, very exciting stuff, compelling stuff, great soccer out there. Did you get a chance to see any of that?
I saw a little bit of it. I didn't actually get to watch the match, unfortunately. My takeaway from it was, yeah, these are two of the more exciting teams in the league. A 4-3 is a good endorsement for MLS. It's the kind of stuff you want to see. It's exciting. Um, I guess my big takeaway from it is that I just Frank DeBoer just like something's not clicking with Atlanta. They're not clicking, obviously, like last season. I saw something on Twitter. A lot of this season is mirroring the first season for Atlanta. So I don't know. Maybe we're being unfair to Frank because Tata kind of had the same, bumps, let's say,
Sure.
on the first season. But it's hard because the fan base, they got to the pinnacle, they won the MLS Cup, and now they kind of are taking a little bit of a regression, and it's hard for that fan base to accept. And this is the stuff we've talked about. It's like, look, Atlanta United, it's not always going to be rainbows and blue skies. You're going to hit some rough patches and see how the fan base handles it, how the organization goes from here on forward.
Yeah, I think that it's pretty rare that you go from a championship squad and then the following season you have a brand new coach. You lose Miguel Almiron, which clearly was stirring the drink as we were talking about, and you're it's just not the same team. So how can anyone expect you to perform the same way? As you said, I think we might be a little unfair with that. But if you're an Atlanta United supporter, obviously you want to see continued dominance. You have Joseph Martinez there who just put up mad goals last year, and he's definitely not performing the same way. But again, a lot of that has to do
Yep.
with Miguel Almiron not being there and not creating.
Totally, totally. As you point out there, that shows how important Miguel Almiron was to the squad, how much Joseph Martinez needed him in behind making those runs. And it also shows that Pity is, well, he's not Miggy, we know this, but I feel like Pity Martinez is having a rough go at it
Yeah.
right now. He's struggling. It's not jiving. He's not happy. It kind of shows in his demeanor, his mannerisms, and every time he gets subbed out in a game, you could tell the dude's just like, "Why are you taking me out?"
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, Barco can't even get on the field half the time. Zico Barco's on the bench. I mean, these two guys are like their highest transfer signings in a while, and it's like, or in club history, and it's like it's not working.
Yeah. Well, again, I think that we're yet to see how this Frank DeBoer system is going to end up working. I mean, I don't think they can him the first year. I think they give him another year to try
Yeah.
to find his squad and use his system. So we'll see as it goes forward. That being said, it's not like they're, doing terribly. They're
No,
still getting some wins.
Yeah, no, that's the thing. I mean, they're still doing much better than most of MLS. It's just they are not the same Atlanta we saw last season. So people are just like, they're losing their mind because of it. Because what they saw last year was just like, globetrotter stuff. It was
Yep,
just
absolutely. Well, that being said, let's talk about another game that went on. Actually, more not necessarily the game, a highlight goal that happened this past weekend from Josie Altidore.
mm,
He just absolute banger. Ball was played to him over on the left side of the box. He took a touch, brought it inside, curled that thing from like 25 yards out to the far post. Disgusting. So if you have a chance, if you want to be a dope goal, man, check it out. Josie
is
Altidore.
this where you're gonna say like, why couldn't you have done that against Mexico?
I mean,
Are you
it,
over
it
it?
yeah, I mean, it would be nice, but it is what it is, man. He's clearly happier playing in Toronto, than he
Oh
is,
yeah,
you
yeah.
know.
There's no doubt about that. Yeah, not to just to go backwards for a second. LAFC picks up right where they left off. I mean, they obviously had the loss in El Trafico, but LAFC, they get the points at home against the Atlanta team. So yeah, LAFC keeps on humming.
Yep,
What can you say?
definitely. Um, so on the flip side of that, the Los Angeles Galaxy get absolutely smoked by Portland, 4-0, and it was a poor showing. That being said, of course, Portland was absolutely clicking. Diego Valeri, man, he put Daniel Steres out of this game completely with this nutmeg that he hit him with. And that was absolutely awesome, man. So again, if you want to see some beautiful play from Portland, check out the highlights here. And if you're a Galaxy fan, you're definitely wondering what's going on, coming off,
Uh,
obviously a huge victory against
yeah,
LAFC, but immediately tanking 4-0 against Portland.
yeah, no, this team is officially Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hiding right now. There's no
Yeah.
doubt about it. They're up and down. It's just not right now. You want to give Guillermo some time, obviously this season. I mean, you want to say there's probably some players there that he probably, if it was just up to him, he wouldn't have. I mean, you could look at Almeida and you could look at Bruce Arena and be like, well, they're making things happen with whatever they got when they got there.
Hmm.
So I don't know. Maybe it's an indictment on Guillermo, but I don't know. It's just something's just not clicking there with the Galaxy, and it's kind of been this way for a little while. And I don't know. There's this. I'm starting to lose hope in this season. To be honest with
Yeah.
you, like anything positive is really going to come out of it.
Yep, I hear that, and so we're going to see how this progresses into the second half of the season. Upcoming games are. Oh, I'm sorry. Before we go to upcoming games, let's just briefly talk about the MLS All Star Game that happened this past Wednesday. Um, this was down in Orlando. Atletico Madrid, coming over from Spain, takes on the MLS All Stars, and Atletico Madrid just blanks MLS 3-0. A pretty dominant performance. And before we talk about any of those highlights there, you got any? I know you had some things that you wanted to drop about this, so go ahead.
Well, I mean, from all accounts, I didn't really get to see it. I saw the All Star game. I saw like a little bit of the end of the first half, and I saw the second half. Um, but by all accounts, the skills contest was more exciting than the actual All Star game, which seems like that's something they're definitely going to keep, and we'll see that next year. Um, yeah, it's always difficult for MLS teams, even though they're a huge collection of talent, to come together in one week and play against a squad that, even though they're in preseason, they're an actual club. They're a squad.
Mm-hmm.
They're training
Mm-hmm.
each other. They're always with each other, so they have that cohesion that an MLS team doesn't have.
Mm-hmm.
All stars. So I feel like it is time for the MLS to scrap this uh, version of the MLS All Star Game. Either A, go back to Western versus Eastern Conference,
Mm-hmm.
or what I want to see, and I think a lot of people want to see, is do MLS All Stars versus Liga MX All Stars.
Yeah, I mean that's
And
definitely the closer. Yeah, okay. So here's the thing with that. I hear what you're saying regarding that, but there is something to be said about having a club like Atletico Madrid coming over, like Real Madrid coming over.
Yes.
Like I mean, it's these are huge clubs around the world, and there's a lot of people that are fans of soccer around the world that would love to see these teams
I
play, and they got
yeah,
a show.
yeah. I totally get it, and I'm with that. It's a marketing thing for MLS.
Hmm.
Um, I mean, if you want to keep it, great, but like do a rotation policy. Like maybe you bring a club in one year, the next year you do East West, the year after that you do Liga MX, All Stars, whatever it is. I feel like this format is growing stale.
Yeah. I hear
Um,
you. As you were saying, the skills challenge was pretty exciting, comparatively to the actual game, and that's not how it should be. It would be nice if there was some parity in the actual game itself, but I mean, Atleti just ran over the All Stars, man. Joao Felix. I mean, we got to touch on this kid. He is an up and coming superstar from Portugal. And man, he showed off some of his skills. He hits an absolute banger from the top of the box, knuckles the ball. There's nothing Ramondo can do about it. And then just setting up Diego Costa with an absolute bomb of a lob from probably, I mean, I think it was further than half field, and just lobs it cross field perfectly in the path of Diego Costa, which let's not take anything away from him. He had a great finish to get on the end of that ball, take a nice touch, and put it home. That's kind of what Diego Costa does in his game. That's his game.
yeah.
But, I mean, we also do have to remember that Atletico Madrid is a team. They're a real team. These guys practice together. These guys train together. These guys compete at the highest level in Spain and the highest level in the world, really. And you're asking a group of MLS All Stars who literally have never played together to magically come together and somehow figure out how they're going to beat one of the best teams in the world. So I don't
Yeah.
know.
So then I asked, what are we doing? Because like I wasn't. This is the first MLS All Star game I can remember where I was just like this. There's just no like excitement. I kind of felt. I was looking at the kind of the players that were out there. I was like, okay, like I don't know. It just didn't have that buzz to me, that real appeal. I mean, it was nice to see Joao Felix and you know Acosta and stuff like that, but it's just like I don't know, something was lacking. It just was
Yeah.
kind of buster for me.
Well, I hear what you're saying, and we'll see where it progresses if they change anything up or they keep it how it is. I think that it's the consensus that to go along with what you're saying. I feel like it was just overall fans were just kind of
Yeah,
underwhelmed by the whole thing. So
you're doing the Leagues Cup, you're doing the Campeones Cup or whatever. It's like okay, just take another step and do an all-star crossover game between the leagues.
yeah. Well, okay, let's take a look at some of the upcoming games of the MLS this weekend. Some of the more notable games: Atlanta United hosting the LA Galaxy. Man, I mean, it feels like the Galaxy are just going to get pummeled again, and we're going to see Atlanta really um, just give it to the Galaxy right now. The Galaxy are just, they're so up and down, but they feel more down. So I have
Is
a
this
feeling
game
it's
in
going to be a bad
Atlanta?
week. Yeah, it's in Atlanta.
Uh,
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Um, let's take a look at one of the hottest teams right now in the MLS, the New England Revolution. They are going to be hosting LAFC. So this is one of the main games I'm excited about watching this
I,
weekend.
I definitely think this is a proof in the pudding kind of a deal for New England. Like we'll see if they're for real. If they can handle business and get it done and get the result at home against LAFC, we'll know that really it turned the corner.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they're coming off a three-game win streak, 5 games unbeaten. So they're definitely riding a high wave. That being said, LAFC, they're coming off 4 wins and 1 loss in their last 5 games, and that 1 loss to the Galaxy. So, I mean, they're just as hot as they've been the entire time. And like you said, they put that game behind them. They came out, they balled out this past weekend. They got the win against Atlanta, which is, again, a gritty performance, 4-3. So I mean, that's a pretty exciting game, man, for sure. The other, definitely one of the other hottest teams right now on a 4-game win streak, the San Jose Earthquakes, man. They're making a push. They're showing that they can get some wins. They're hosting the Columbus Crew, who are, mediocre right now. They're on a 2-game win streak. But it seems like, I don't know where San Jose is kind of coming from,
Yeah.
man.
You can't throw any more shade at San Jose, man.
No, not right now. No, I cannot.
Yep. It's
So,
crazy. It's actually really remarkable. Like I feel like their story is even more remarkable than what's going on with New England, because San Jose was the absolute worst team last season, and they have turned it around, man.
yep.
There's just you got to call what it is.
That's
How many
football, man. That's MLS, dude.
things there? Yeah, no, it is. It is part of MLS for sure, but I mean, hey, I've seen coaches go in and out and they can't get anything done, and the one guy comes in, man, and he just he's able to put that pot, that stew together, man, and make it delicious.
Yeah,
And
I hear that, man.
uh,
Well, one of the other games that we're going to mention, this will be the last one that's pretty interesting this next weekend on Sunday. Minnesota United, they're hosting Portland, and both of these teams are 5 games unbeaten.
oh,
So the Loons have 3 wins and 2 draws in their last 5 matches. And Portland has 3 wins and 2 draws as well. They had a win, 2 draws, and then they're coming off 2 more wins. So, I mean, both these teams are having a good last 5 games, and we'll see which team is going to continue their streak being unbeaten or if this goes to a draw again. But Minnesota hosting up in Allianz Field, they've been having a good time, man. They've had a lot of support up there. And Portland coming in there is going to be it's going to be a tough game, man. I think that Minnesota is going to put a lot of pressure on Portland.
yeah, definitely a game to check out. I couldn't agree with you more. That's Portland's hot right now. I guess I didn't realize how hot Minnesota was at this time. I know they've been really buoyed by being in their new stadium.
Hmm.
So yeah, that's definitely like you wouldn't think it would be a great matchup, but something you definitely need to check out.
Yep. So really quickly before we move on to our Premier League teams, Tottenham and Chelsea, we'll just go over some of the standings here in the Eastern Conference. Right now, the top 4 in the East of the MLS, Philadelphia Union holding it down up top, 39 points. Followed by Atlanta FC, who's making that push to get back up there. They have 36 points, tied with with DC United, who also have 36 points, and rounding up the top 4 is NYCFC with 35. So kind of sneaking in there. Overall, though, I mean the standings right now in the East are all pretty close. The real gap comes when you get down to ninth place Orlando City at 26 points. But before that, Toronto has 32 points just out of the playoffs. New England 33, Montreal 33, New York Red Bulls 34. So I mean, it's all within grasp. Seventh place team going up to the Philadelphia Union. There's only a 6 point difference. So I mean, all to play for in the East. As far as the West goes, that's a little bit of a different story, and we all know why. LAFC right now, 49 points. They are 11 points ahead of the Seattle Sounders, who are in second place currently. The LA Galaxy following that, tied with San Jose, 37 points. So the LA Galaxy, I mean, yeah, San Jose is just right on the heels of both LA and Seattle. They are very in a great position to start getting up into second place, which is pretty incredible.
Yeah.
And speaking of which, right behind them is Minnesota United. Again, they've been on a 5-game unbeaten streak. They have 35 points, so they're also making a push to get back up there. So some exciting games this weekend. Tune in. If you don't have a chance, then of course watch the highlights at least so that you can stay informed. And of course, we'll keep you informed as well. We'll go over a review next week about what happened, the results of this past weekend, of course. So, Eric, do you anything else you want to throw in on the MLS before we go into Tottenham Chelsea?
No, just for anybody that doesn't know, MLS does a great review show. Usually comes out every Tuesday.
Yeah, really great review show. Just check it out on YouTube. It really covers everything that's happening in the league. So absolutely, the review show on there is definitely something to see. Okay, so moving on, we are going to be talking about the uh, the fourth and third place teams of the 2018-2019 Premier League season. The fourth place team, Tottenham Hotspur. We're going to go over some of the main players on their team, their first team, and just kind of get an idea of what they're looking at going into the season. They haven't made a whole lot of changes. You know, Tottenham over the last 2 years haven't really done too much by way of transfers or anything like that.
Well, Trippier
Yes.
got back and went to Atletico Madrid. That was like, I saw him over there. I was like, wait, what?
Yeah.
I looked him up. I was like, yeah, he left. And you,
Yeah, Kieran Trippier was sold a little bit, maybe 2 weeks ago, something like that.
yeah.
But let's go ahead and let's take a look at the first team of Tottenham. Hugo Lloris, of course, starting in net for them. Great keeper, French keeper. I mean, you know, and I think most teams in the world would be happy to have Hugo Lloris tending their net. We have Danny Rose, Toby Alderweireld, Jan Vertonghen, Davison Sanchez, and these guys are pretty much what is rounding out in the back. I mean, if I was going to give their defense a grade right now, which I think is a good way of kind of holding this down to give you an idea, at least of what we think. Defensively, I'm going to give them I'm going to say B minus on their defense. What grade do you think you would give Tottenham's defense right now? Danny Rose, Alderweireld, Vertonghen, Davison Sanchez.
I guess I'll go with a C plus.
Okay, C plus. Right on. Looking into some of the midfield, Harry Winks in the midfield, Eric Dyer, Victor Wanyama, Musa Sissoko, Dele Alli. You know, a lot of big names still. Christian Eriksen, of course. You know, this is a pretty decent midfield. I think again I would go with I'll give them a B minus again. I think they're solid. A lot of good names. We've seen some good play out of a lot of these guys. Not terribly. I don't think from any one particular player you've seen any great consistency. I mean, again, Eriksen, awesome player. Dele Alli, great player. You know, Eric Dyer, again, one of the staples in the English team right now. What would you give them as far as a grade if you had to give that midfield a grade?
I agree with you. I'd go with a B minus as well.
Okay. Solid. Looking at some of the forwards they have, you know, they got some bigger names up top and some exciting players. Of course, Heung-min Son. Dude, I mean, this guy's just all speed, super exciting, has some great goals. I really like watching Heung-min Son play as long as it's not against Liverpool. So it's pretty fun to watch him go up that wing or cut inside. He's got some great talent. You know, a guy that's been somewhat inconsistent but has definitely shown that he can have some brilliant play is Lucas Moura. Lucas Moura had some absolute banging games last season. But then sometimes he just kind of disappeared and you just didn't even know where he was. And, you know, as far as forwards go, Eric Lamela is still up there. And, of course, your boy Harry Kane. And as far as an attack mind goes from their forward positions, I think I'm going to go with I think I'm gonna go with a B plus. I think they have some great players, but none of them are as consistent as you would want. Minus maybe Harry Kane and Heung-min Son, who have they're pretty consistently putting pressure on the other teams and definitely scoring some goals as long as they're healthy, of course. But Lucas Moura in and out. Eric Lamela is kind of just like just in case kind of right now. If you had to give that the forwards and the attacking squad a grade for Tottenham, what do you think?
I go with a B, I would say.
B. Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. All right. Well, right on. That's kind of an idea of what you will see from Tottenham. Decent team, fourth place is where they finished. And that's nothing to shake a stick at. Although at the end of the last season, they kind of faded off. Their last 5 games, they had a loss, a win, two more losses, and a draw. So it was kind of like a disappointing end of the season for them. They definitely were more secured in that third place position far before that, and before those last 5 games that they kind of just dipped. Chelsea just caught them, and they ended up winning that position. So, I mean, by 1 point, by the way, they caught them by 1 point. So Chelsea,
Yeah.
yeah, Tottenham had 71 points ending up, and Chelsea, who we're going to talk about right now, ended with 72. Anything else you want to put on Tottenham before we move on to Chelsea?
No, just basically what I'd say with Chelsea as well as we go into Chelsea's review or preview here. I expect Chelsea and Tottenham to, compete with Liverpool and Man City for those top 2 spots. They got to take the next step. Um, and I think they may possibly have the personnel to do it. They're not as deep as Man City and Liverpool, but you know, it's a decent squad. There's no doubt about it. I mean,
Hmm.
that's the thing. It's like, would Tottenham possibly win a league title in another league? Yeah, you know,
Yeah, right.
this just goes to show how deep the English Premier League is.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they made it to the Champions League final. I mean, again,
Yeah,
that's nothing to shake a stick at, man. They
yeah,
definitely proved that on the world stage they can compete. So, Tottenham, fourth place, ending up this last season. And then let's go ahead and let's look at Chelsea's squad, their current squad. And of course, this could all, some things could change in the next 7 days, but I kind of doubt it, or the next week or so. So, keeper, Kepa, Arrizabalaga, still holding it down back there. It should be interesting. By the way, I think it's going to be really interesting to see what happens with the coaching change in Chelsea as well.
good.
Um,
Hey, good work on these pronunciations. Are you practicing over there when you're
nah,
not looking?
that's just how I roll.
Dude,
I
just
just know what's up.
up.
So Kepa in the goal. Yeah, I'm sorry. Let's go back to this. Frank Lampard taking over as
Yes.
manager of Chelsea. I mean, what are your thoughts on that initially before we go through the team sheet?
It's going to be a huge year, obviously. I mean, a lot's going to be expected of Frank. He's going to have some growing pains. This is not Derby County.
Yeah.
Uh, so yeah, it's going to be interesting. I will say that for sure. Um, I
I
just
mean, he's obviously being handed a squad with some big names. It's not like
oh
he's not
yeah.
it's not like he's
Uh,
being handed a team with no talent. I
oh
mean,
yeah, no doubt. No, it's not.
so
I wonder how long, like how long is that leash for a
yeah,
club?
who knows, man.
How long till the boo birds come out if things
Like
aren't way? How long will the supporters turn on them?
I mean, it's the English Premier League, so as soon as they lose their first game, you know what's up. They're gonna be pointing fingers, man.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
okay,
Well,
so let's.
it's going to start early too. Sorry to interrupt you, but Chelsea are going to play Liverpool for the UEFA Super Cup.
Yep.
So it's coming up here, man.
Yeah.
It's
Um,
running.
so let's go ahead and let's go over their team sheet real quick. Some of the bigger names, of course. We're not going to cover every single person on there, but Kepa in net. As far as the defense goes, Antonio Rudiger is back there. Marcus Alonso, Zappacosta, who kind of didn't get as much play last year, but he's still there. Aspilicueta, of course, in the back. David Luiz, Emerson. These are the bigger names back there. What would you give as far as a grade goes to the defense of Chelsea?
I'll go with B plus.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, man. I think we have like mind in a lot of ways when it comes to
Yeah.
this. I mean, definitely some talent there, no doubt. Um, they were pretty solid last year on defense, but there's always the ups and downs, and it's whether or not you have that depth. And the people behind the starters for Chelsea, it's just not as deep,
Yeah.
and so you're just not going to see consistent. High level if you start pulling in your B team, and what you
Yeah.
have to do. You got to give the starters a rest. Otherwise, they're just going to burn out and you got nothing.
Right.
So, going into their midfield, some of the bigger names, Jorginho, of course, Danny Drinkwater's there, N'Golo Kante, Ross Barkley, Ruben Loftus-Cheek hanging out in the midfield, and of course, one of the biggest, oh, I'm sorry, Mateo Kovacic, but kind of like the biggest thing that happened this season, this transfer season.
Boy.
Yeah, man, your boy, Captain America over there now, Christian Pulisic. Um, I mean,
Did you see him against who was that they played? This is his last game. I was in the Audi.
yeah, yeah, he had 2 goals and an assist. He was tearing it down.
Yeah, that
Uh,
was the game that Pedro had that ridiculous goal.
oh, he had that little back heel thing. That was stupid, man. That was
Uh,
real stupid. But
um,
yeah, I mean,
this
Christian
is this is a
Pulisic.
this is a big this is a big season for the well, obviously for Christian Pulisic personally at Chelsea, but for Americans at a big club or what we considered a big club now in the Premier League, like the whole perception, you know.
Well, I
Hopefully,
can,
he's able to
dude, I
flourish.
can guarantee you that I think that this year, um, there's going to be even more viewing of the Premier League here in the United States because our number one player's over there.
Oh yeah, there's no doubt. I will want to watch more Chelsea games because of it. There's no doubt.
Yep. No, absolutely. I'm there with you. I mean, I want to see how he does. I want to see what kind of minutes he's going to get, and I'm going to see how he performs against. I mean, the first teams in the Premier League. Like
Yes.
this is what it's. This is like it's
Yes,
the top of the top.
exactly. It's good to be doing what he's doing, but remember it's preseason, and it
Mhm.
was good to do what he was doing in the Bundesliga. But no offense, the Bundesliga is not the Premier League.
Not even close, man.
So
So we're
yeah,
gonna see how it all shakes out. Let's go ahead and let's look at the forwards and the attacking squad for Chelsea. We just mentioned him, Pedro, over there doing his thing, man. He's like, he's had this kind of resurgence for himself over there in Chelsea. He scored some great goals last season. That little back heel thing that he had this last weekend was absolutely stupid. It is preseason and all that. If he does something like that in Premier League regular season, man, people are gonna lose their minds, bro.
yes, yeah, no doubt.
So Olivier Giroud, of course, trying to hold down that number 9 spot, big target in the middle. Willian, of course, is still over there. But you know what? Here's another player who I'm super excited to watch this year too is Callum Hudson-Odoi. I mean, this young kid, he's got some serious talent too. And it's going to be very interesting to see how he does this season, if he continues maturing, I suppose, if you will, into the Premier League and making a bigger mark on what he can do over there. Any thoughts and what kind of grade would you give this attacking squad for Chelsea?
The midfield,
No, 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 no. Didn't we talk about the midfield? Yeah, you gave him a B plus, didn't you?
I give him a yes. Okay, I
Yeah.
apologize.
So let's talk the attackers. We're talking about forwards: Pedro, Giroud, Callum Hudson-Odoi, Willian, Michy Batshuayi, by the way, is up there too.
I'd give him a. I'm gonna go with a B. B. I'll go with a B.
Yeah. I mean, again, Solid. That's exactly what I was gonna say. I don't know. We're
I
just like mind.
I feel like I'm kind of leaning towards a B minus, but I am a B. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you have Pedro and Willian over there who are a little bit older. You have Callum Hudson-Odoi, who's yet to be proven as a consistent star in the Premier League, and Olivier Giroud, who, I mean, it didn't seem like he could score in the Premier League. He was awesome over in, when he's playing FA.
I don't care what you say. I love the guy's hair, his beard. The man is gorgeous.
Hey, I'll accept that. That's cool. So
And he's French. Okay, sorry.
yeah,
Sorry.
I hear you. I hear you. So Chelsea bring in definitely a decent team. Frank Lampard, all eyes on him for sure. Along with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, these two coaches, I think that's like we're gonna see where they're at. Unai Emery, of course, he had a pretty decent season last year, and people are gonna be paying attention to that. But quite frankly, I think Frank Lampard and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer are the two managers that people are going to be really keeping an eye on.
No doubt.
Okay, anything else you want to add as we kind of finish off this episode regarding the Premier League?
Arsenal just signed the guy from, what was it, Lille? Lille from the French. Lille, sorry. As I just said, he was French. Mm-hmm. Lille. I can't think of the guy's name. I thought you would have it. Catching us with our pants down.
Pepe, yeah?
Yeah, Pepe. That's it. Didn't they sign him like 73? Like
73 mil. Yeah, 73 million pound signing, man.
And I'm like, this guy, he's from Ivory Coast. I don't know anything about the guy.
Well, we'll see. I mean, obviously, Unai Emery has.
I guess he's really good, right? I mean, it's a lot of money.
I mean, talking about a leash that you were talking about with Frank Lampard, how long's a leash, man? Well, okay, we have this guy Pepe coming over for 73 million pounds. Unai Emery clearly was given the go-ahead to basically, sounds like, do whatever he wants.
Yeah, this is a big step for this guy. I mean, he's going from Ligue 1 to the Premier League, from one of the bigger clubs, like, dude.
For 73 million pounds. I mean, you gotta perform. You gotta perform if you are.
No, that's mega. That's blockbuster money. So I don't know. It came out of nowhere. I mean, I guess maybe we should know.
Yeah.
I don't know. See.
All right. Well, we're gonna finish off this episode as always. Enjoy the games, folks, and don't hate.
Don't hate.